So I don't actually think the iPhone 14 Pro is a perfect phone. It's the most fun I've ever had with a phone, and it's my favorite iPhone ever, but I don't actually think it's perfect, because that title I will keep on the iPhone 13 Pro, of which I called perfect last year. And I say this, and I say it so confidently, because everything Apple did with that phone was just perfectly engineered, fully built out, and I feel like the full realization of every feature was there pretty much on day one. But I don't feel that way about the 14 Pro this year, and I again say that pretty confidently after spending so many hours with this phone, using this nonstop for weeks now. And well, let me explain my case. Let me tell you why I feel how I feel, and I think by the end of the video, you'll actually agree with me. Like, just starting off with the screen here, it looks entirely different on the front because of the dynamic island, which, by the way, is so much fun and absolutely worth the hype. Mostly because it can do a lot right now. Phone calls go up there, voice memos, airdrops. You can even put music and podcast in addition to timers, and it splits apart, and it just looks so good. The look of the dynamic island is perfect. It's 12 out of 10. It's so good. It's just it's why I'm an Apple fan. Okay, it's just incredible. But the way it works, it's not there yet, because there's an update coming later this year with live activities that's going to tell you when your Uber is there or sports game scores live in the dynamic island, and it's going to be great. But right now, I don't actually use it as much as I thought I did. When I do use it, it's amazing, and I love that Apple got rid of the notch. But it's not, you see what I'm saying, like there's some more to come for the notch. So that's why I'm not calling that part of the phone perfect. The actual quality of the screen, though, is the best ever. The 120 hertz ProMotion is just the best, is worth every penny. It's just as good as last year, and the only place the display falls short is with the always on mode. And I know I'm a hypocrite, because I asked for this for years. I know I'm a stupid tech tuber that cried about it not coming and then is still crying when it's here. You were 100% right. I actually didn't want it. I turned it off pretty much immediately, not only because there is a decent battery drain of people showing about 5 to 10%, which is more than I'd like to see. It's just really distracting. But I'm not saying this like it's an Apple thing. I realized I got an Android phone in the other day, and I started using the always on there, which is just the black background and the white text. And even then, I just didn't like it. I like having my phone screen off. I love always on my watch, but I realized after all, this time, I didn't actually want it on my phone. So regardless of if or how Apple does tweak the always on, because a lot of people do say it's distracting right now, even then, I don't see myself using it. What I've been using a ton are the new cameras on here, because it's got a 48 megapixel sensor, which is a massive upgrade if you're shooting in ProRAW, which uses the full capacity of the sensor. Otherwise, the photos aren't as much as a leap forward when you're not shooting the RAW, which is like the smallest minority of iPhone users, people like me, sometimes that use it. Otherwise, it's just nicer, it's sharper, it is better. But that being said, it doesn't feel like the photo processing in the software is truly optimized for the 48 megapixel sensor hardware. I mean, most of the time, 90 something percent of the time, the photo looks exactly how I want it. It looks great. It looks better than the 13 Pro. But other times I feel like smart HDR misfires and the lighting looks weird and exposure just isn't what I want, or even what I've become predictably accustomed to from the 13 Pro. So I know it's going to get better over time, but again, new thing, a new start here. But pretty much everything else that Apple did with the cameras is just top notch. The 2x telephoto being back is so amazing. I thought I didn't miss it until I had it back, and I've been using it way more than the 3x. The video is just stupid. It is dummy at this point. It is so good to the point where I have started to film some B-roll here and there in my videos with this. I can't really tell. I mean, if you look really close, you can tell that the video was shot on an iPhone, but it is, I don't know. It's just nothing's close. I don't know how the video, and I think the 48 megapixel sensor is really propelling this forward. There's just more data. God, it's, oh, no, it's perfect. The video is perfect on here. The video is so good. And there's also action mode, which is just a blast. So many people have called this a gimmick and a dumb feature, but I have had a time of my life with it. Do I use it every day? Is it a feature I'm going to use every time I shoot video? No. There's still weird artifacting sometimes, and it needs a lot of light to work properly. But when you have all of that light, man, it delivers on the job. Also, the front-facing camera on here got a lot better, and I feel like I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that, but there's something with the lighting and the quality. I think they also gave it autofocus, which is really nice. It's really good. I was worried with the dynamic island that the quality would go down or something, but no, the selfie camera is Man, they nailed it here. Okay, something else really important to me when I buy a new phone is making sure I don't break it, because, that's happened before. So that's why I use Casetify, who sponsored today's video. First of all, their design selection is my favorite that I've ever seen. There are so many custom collaborations and other designs that I haven't been able to get anywhere else. And you can even customize the cases with your name or something meaningful right on their website. But it's not just the way these cases look, it's the insane drop protection as well. With the EcoShock corners on the iPhone 14 Impact Ultra series, you have 11.5 feet of drop protection, which is 5 times the military standard. I have dropped my phone so many times, more than I can count in Casetify, and it's never broken. But Casetify doesn't stop there. They've also made these new cases from other phone cases that have been upcycled, so you're also doing your part for the environment on top of getting a kick-ass case. So if you guys want to use the cases that I trust the most, head over to the link down below in the description, get one for yourself at casetify.com/iupdateyt for 15% off your order. I love you, Casetify. Thank you guys for sponsoring. Now back to the video. Okay, the last section of this review I'm just calling miscellaneous, and I want to start off this section by talking about battery life. This is probably the least perfect part of this phone, because even with the always on mode disabled, I don't think my battery life is as good as it was on the 13 Pro out of the box. It's very close. It's, great still, but like I'm at 6% at the end of my day. Now I used it a lot. I filmed a ton of stuff, but I still feel like if I had these phones side by side with same usage, I think my 13 Pro would have better battery. It's not something I was expecting, but it's something I really want to note, that I do think, even though on Apple's website it says the 14 Pro would get better battery, I feel like the 13 Pro was just a little bit better. It's not enough to make me go back at all, but just something I wanted to note there. I wasn't expecting the battery life to be essentially the same, if not a little bit worse. Oh, I've got the A16 chip in here in my notes. I don't know why, because it feels like the A15 and the A14 and the A13 and the A12. Like, it's great. I just literally can't tell at this point. It's dummy. Again, it's kind of like the video. It's just like better than anything else. But it's not like I picked this up and was like, whoa, this is the A16. Oh, I needed that extra power. No, it's great. I'm happy we got the faster chip on the Pros. Like, keep doing that, Apple. Don't keep the same chip in the Pros. I'm paying too much. I don't know. At this point, the chips are just stupid. And I actually thought the eSIM was going to be stupid. I was really worried about that. In the US, I live in the United States. I don't have a SIM card tray. And I am annoyed by it. I am frustrated by it. I'm crossing my arms to show you how I feel. But man, it's been fine. This transition for me was flawless. No issues whatsoever. I transferred both my eSIMs because I used a personal and a business line on my 14 Pro, and I had no issues. Like, it was perfect. I wanted to be able to say, look, Apple, see, I had issues, so you should have kept it. And I definitely sold my old 13 Pro to a friend who specifically bought it because they wanted a SIM card tray. So while I miss it emotionally, I don't actually miss it physically. Like, I haven't legitimately been in a situation where I needed to put a SIM in here yet. It just would have been nice, or could be nice, I guess, technically. Okay, and finally, of course, I have to mention the satellite connectivity in this review, which is not out yet. I am absolutely stoked to see how this works. This allows you to contact emergency services when you don't have cell service by sending a message through a satellite in space. But when it launches, it's only for contacting emergency services, and it's only for sending super brief text messages even there. I want to be able to send a text to any of my friends or family over a satellite. I want to be able to make satellite calls. But just like the dynamic island or the 48 megapixel camera sensor, it's the start of so much to come for the iPhone that just isn't material yet. So that's why I don't think the 14 Pro is a perfect phone. I think everything the 13 Pro did, it did the best version of it. And while I love this as a phone better than the 13 Pro, it is absolutely not perfect. It is not the most refined. It is not flawless and the penultimate that it could be. It's close in a lot of ways, but it's not perfect. So those are my thoughts. This is my iPhone 14 Pro. And, I'm going to go make some phone calls because that's what I do on my phone. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.